forward red lips in collections court. I woke up that morning with a stiff neck and a vague sense that something was wrong. And it was. A few hours later, I found myself in the collections court, wearing green clover's earrings in my ears, red lips, and the strange feeling of being the main character in an absurd, social-realist comedy. My name is Christina Helena, and this is my story, told from my truth. It's not just a tale of financial collapse and crashing headfirst into the system. It's the first in a series about reinventing yourself after 40, about divorce, men, and sex, about being burning with desire and still dreaming of true love. It's about being a woman, an entrepreneur, a colleague, a sister, a bonus mom and a daughter, and somewhere in the middle of all that, it's about finding the version of you who doesn't people please, doesn't say sorry for existing, and sure as hell doesn't carry anyone else's baggage. It's also about childhood, about growing up with a chaotic legacy, about breaking the social cycle with heels rooted in reality and dignity balanced on the razor's edge of dark humor. Welcome to a story filled with rage and warmth, laughter and shame, strength and vulnerability, told with my heart on my sleeve and my gaze set forward towards something new. Red Lips in Collections Court is just the beginning. It gets wilder. It gets worse. And more important. And from here, there's only one way to go. Up. Red Lips in Collections Court. There are days when you have to go and search for words beyond law and order. There are days when the rain hits like tiny sour candies, and the whole world leans so far down, but the only way is up. The song, Up Claus Hempler. I didn't know it would end there that morning. I just woke up with a stiff neck. If I'd known what was coming, I might have pulled the covers back over my head and stayed put. Later, I found myself in one of those institutional rooms with brown, monotonous doors, the kind you could accidentally walk through and end up in some kind of forced rehab for an addiction you didn't even know you had. Doors that hide tragic human fates, lifelong payment plans, and power-hungry bureaucrats armed with calculators and a well-preserved God complex, masking their own talentless, useless existence. A tyranny of power disguised as public service, where people are beaten into place with bureaucratic language and polite nods, and assigned their place in line, in the hierarchy, in life. Let's be clear, if you didn't learn it at home, you'll damn well learn it here. Or rather, they'll make sure you see that you never learned it. They'll expose it. And make sure you stay right there at the very bottom, where there's only one way, and that's up. And here I am. Of all people. In a situation I've tried to surgically design myself out of since childhood. Strategically. Calculated. Controlled. With notes, diligence, and adaptability as my survival kit. I've fought my whole life to avoid exactly this scene, and now it's staring me right in the face. Like the jaws of death. With bad lighting and polished floors, I'm standing there. With green clovers in my ears, red lips, and a brave attempt not to fall apart. One more round of humiliation and self-degradation thrown at me by the past 2 years, like a damn reality show I never signed up for. On both sides of the room, people either broken by the system or who have become the system. And me? I'm part of it. On the wrong side, mind you. I feel it physically how dignity, self-respect, and fighting spirit are being drained out of me. by the brown doors, the chaped tables, and the people whose life mission apparently is to measure out humiliation with millimeter precision and a neutral tone. But maybe I knew it all along. Because sometimes you don't just meet the system, you meet yourself. And holy hell, have I met myself since turning 40, in fluorescent light and administrative jargon, unable to hold on to my dignity, but trying. Trying with lipstick, a touch of mascara, and an inner monologue swinging between dark humor and quiet desperation. It started with a stiff neck, and it ended with an immediate bank transfer and a very firm handshake from an eager, power-thirsty yet outwardly friendly woman with municipally colored hair and a gaze that says, "We all have our hobbies, mine is power." A little idiot with big feelings and a locked neck. You know the feeling, right? Some mornings you just wake up and know, okay, this is going to be one of those days. Me, like so many other women, on an endless quest for true love and the feeling of being loved, naturally thinks, that guy? The emotionally unavailable man? Just what I need in my life. A challenge. Yes, I'll take that one. As if I didn't already have enough to deal with. But then, I feel like I'm achieving something. Like I am something. Like I can something. Classic insecure attachment style. I read that somewhere between self-help books and breakdowns. Of course, I'm a product of a childhood where insecurity and deprivation were the baseline. Where safety is found in the struggle, not in love. I fucking know that. And still, like the little idiot I am, I think, I can open him. His heart. I'm exactly the one he needs to become happy. How delusional can you get? But hey, let's save that for another day. Right now, I'm just so tired, mentally drained. I could sleep for a year. Or as Taylor Swift might say, "Hi, I'm the problem. It's me, but only because exhaustion has made me feel like everyone's problem." I'd actually gone to bed at 7 p.m. the night before. Sunday, completely done. Worn out by an emotional North Sea on a stormy autumn day. Momentarily defeated, yes, but actually also pretty clear-headed. That's when sleep really gets to me, when there's clarity inside. That's when I can sleep. And I had. I wake up at 7. The principle of never using an alarm clock almost always works. I'm without bragging okay. Maybe a little, basically, a human atomic clock. I can almost always tell you what time it is without looking at a clock. A skill I've refined over years of inner stress, over-responsibility, and a deep-seated fear of being late. It's like my body's installed a built-in come-the-hell-on module, somewhere between my pituitary gland and my belly button. I always wake up, precisely, like a Swiss mom with an eye for detail and anxiety in her gut. That's honestly the closest I come to a superpower. The soft rustling of a pigeon couple outside the window makes me turn my head. What are they up to now? Probably calling out to each other, I think. And click, I feel it instantly. My neck has locked up. Yeah, you've been there. Most people have. You can barely move. Everything's stiff and sore. You try turning your head, a little zap. Try again. More stubbornly, a sharper sting. Ouch. Nope. back to the safety zone, where it doesn't hurt too much. Fuck this just doesn't happen. Multitasking with dignity and a busted ass. But listen, I have things to do. And this damn stiff neck is not going to ruin my day. I awkwardly rolled out of bed and thought, a hot shower might loosen things up. My body felt like one big no. And let's be honest, the body usually has its reasons. A few weeks ago, I fell down the stairs, for fuck's sake, and it's been uphill ever since. Getting past 40 is such a bitch. It happened in my little office. On a Saturday. Right in the middle of customer rush hour. Juggling a box and a dress over one arm, and a phone, and a freshly steamed gown in the other. Don't ask. My foot slipped, and in that split second where everything shifts to slow motion, I just knew. It's happening. First the realization I just managed to think fuck. Then, bump my ass hits the stairs, and a hot jolt shoots up through my body. I try to brace myself with one arm instinctively reaching down to catch the fall. Crack. My hand slams into the edge of the step, and now the pain is in my hand instead of my ass. Yeah, great. Who says you can't multitask? I got up slowly. Tears welled up, and for a second, self-pity nearly knocked me over and pinned me to the floor. Just for a moment, I wanted to give in, curl up in the fetal position like a hysterical 5-year-old girl. Curl up like a naked squirrel and just cry. Just a tiny break. I needed a physical excuse for exactly that, just letting go and sobbing. Pouring it all out. It would have been cathartic, and I could feel my body begging for it. It's almost a physical phenomenon, that release. That relief that only comes when you've cried out every last drop of frustration. And God, did I need that. I needed a physical excuse for exactly that, just letting go and sobbing. Pouring it all out. It would have been cathartic, and I could feel my body begging for it. It's almost a physical phenomenon, that release. That relief that only comes when you've cried out every last drop of frustration. And God, did I need that. But no. I straightened up. Come on, I said out loud to myself with that slightly strained tone only used by people carrying way too much responsibility and way too little peace. There were people waiting for me, customers. And my mother. She was alone in the shop. On a Saturday. One of our 2 boutiques, packed with retro flair, rockabilly attitude, and racks of dreamy dresses. From swingy 50s-inspired styles to glittering gowns and party wear for women and kids, plus all the accessories no one strictly needs, but absolutely has to have. The kind of place where a tiara can tip the scales and a fitting room turns into a battleground. It was packed with Saturday people. A very specific breed, you know, the frazzled mom dragging 2 spoiled kids behind her. Mom's got her heart set on something classic and princessy, preferably navy blue. The girls have their own TikTok agenda, the more cleavage and bare midriff, the better. And so it begins. The chaos, the tears, the full-blown fabric negotiations. It's not just retail. It's emotional triage in stilettos. It's always Saturday that the little everyday dramas unfold in the fitting rooms. Big negotiation sessions with tears, teen angst, and a fitting room that turns into a battleground. After 2 hours of mental chaos, it's abandoned like a war zone, everyone fleeing for survival, and we're left behind like UN agents trying to restore order. And there stands my mother, in the thick of it all, with her fragile shoulders and a superhuman effort to maintain calm, service, and dignity. She counts on me. I'm holding a freshly steamed wedding dress. The bride's heading to her bachelorette party any minute now. And apparently, the world depends on how fast I can deliver the dress, locate the perfect shade of bridal white meets something blue garter, and prevent yet another full-blown life crisis. In my mind, I see my mother there, in the shop. That slightly worn, but fiercely stubborn version of her. Surrounded by greedy, mead-hungry women, a fitting room full of lions. Ravenous lionesses pouncing on the freshly delivered prey, aka the new dress shipment, as if we were in a zoo. And there stands my mom in the middle of the pack, with a tight-lipped smile and steams wet under her arms, desperately trying to distribute the meat dresses somewhat evenly. So yeah, I shook it off and kept going. A little fall like that is not going to take me down. This needs to be run off, I chanted to myself, manic, almost like a war cry, and I found strength in sprinting through the pedestrian street. Limping. Overheated. But determined. A brave warrior on a mission to save the day. My mom, from the lions, and a shred of dignity. I ignored the pain and actually felt kind of heroic and bold running like that. Past all the people on their Saturday leisure shopping in Roskilde, who must have seen this little wild red-haired woman sprinting with too much in her hands, and a look like an action hero on her last mission. It must have been a glorious sight for any god with a taste for dark comedy. I'd just survived a fall, dodged a near mental collapse classic me. I will survive. Even if it's more of a hobble than a sprint. Of course the payback came. Sneaking in later that evening. Like a parking ticket you know is coming. It's just a matter of time. That dull, nagging, persistent pain in my back that refuses to let go. 2, 3 weeks now, with the My Ass Meets Stairs edition. A gift that just keeps on giving. A body's memory of hunger and hurry. Honestly, I think I'm sometimes so busy and have so much going on in my head that I have no idea what my body is doing. It's like uncoordinated. It's actually trying to tell me something. It's yelling, "Stop, slow down!" But I'm already 3 steps ahead. I don't hear it. I trip over my own feet, knock things over, spill coffee down myself. Or on someone else. It's been like that my whole life. I'd love to blame my childhood again. But let's be real. That excuse has probably expired. It's probably just a personality trait. I eat like that too. Fast. Chaotic. Disjointed. Like it's the last time I'll ever get food. I've heard it all my life. "Slow down, you're inhaling your food," said in a loving but slightly worried tone. People who've been around me long enough say it like a weather alert. The rest just smile politely and ask, joking, "Are you afraid someone's going to snatch your food?" They say it like it's the most absurd thing in the world. Like a joke. Like something we can all laugh about. But they have no fucking idea what they're talking about. The ones who've known real hunger, they know what I mean. It's a kind of knowing that only those of us who've truly been hungry understand. A truth that never quite lets go of your soul. It stays in the body. It lurks behind every meal. Between bite and pause. Between chew and swallow. The balance between pleasure and the fear that it might vanish at any second. That's why I have to focus, really focus, on slowing down. On enjoying it. The fear of not getting any has become a habit. A fucked up kind of habitus, eating like lightning. Because I need to move on. I don't have time. I have to hurry. Just get it over with, preferably before someone takes it from me. But also, yes, I'll say it as it is, because deep down, I still believe someone might actually take the food away from me. Physically, I'm always on alert. As if, at any moment, an adult might walk into the room and say, "Stop, young lady, I'll be taking that plate," because that has happened. More than once. A punishment, measured out with purpose, if you ask my dad. The planting of a cruel little seed in my subconscious, one I'll probably never be able to fully weed out. And so I sit there, with wide, wet eyes. But it's my food, and I'm hungry. It's in me. So deep. Sleep, strategies, and suicide seeds. Back to my morning. The hot shower actually helped a bit my back, sure. But also my mood. There's been more fight in me lately, if you can even call it that. But first, it was bad, really bad. That pit in your stomach, can't breathe because of the knot in your chest, kind of bad. The thing I feared the most showed up with almost documentary-like precision. It started when I finally realized that the bankruptcy wasn't just a possibility anymore. It was real. A quiet, creeping recognition that settled first into my body and then into my mind. First, I watched it all fall apart, like sand slipping through my fingers. You try to hold on, but it just keeps sliding. And I stood there, completely unable to pick it back up. That period was a blur of crying and overcompensating, of stress and breakdowns. Because giving up? That's not a thing. Not when it comes to my sister Marilyn. For her, I'd walk around the world barefoot and naked, if that's what it took. But something shifted in me once we made a plan. I could keep everything at arm's length, even laugh at my own incompetence and general uselessness. Some kind of whatever button showed up inside me. Probably because everything else was just too damn hard for too damn long. You can't live in a constant state of emergency. Now, there's a plan, a structure. But something shifted in me once we made a plan. There's a way forward now. And that gives me peace. That makes all the difference. We just need one signature. Then we're good to go. New company. New systems. More freedom for me. They say everything happens for a reason, and normally, I'd roll my eyes and mumble something about New Age bullshit. But maybe there's something to it. Because I can feel it, some of the weight is lifting off my shoulders now that we're in this together. Just the fact that there's more of us, that it's not just me and my overly responsible ego, it changes things. It means I'm miraculously starting to have enough focus to actually walk my own path. So it's not always about the gift for Marilyn, the latest disaster cleanup, or yet another crisis management Excel sheet. This book, it's part of what I've dreamed of writing my entire life. But let's be honest, there's never really been room for it. Sporadically, sure. Little flashes of writing spirit, sacred moments squeezed between chaos and caffeine breakdowns. Maybe now there's a chance for the space to open up. I hope so. I can feel it like a small spring blooming in my belly. It's sprouting, pushing its way forward. It won't be held down, it wants out. And strangely, it's right here, in the middle of all the chaos, the bankruptcy, the exhaustion, the parade of legal humiliation, that the door finally cracks open. For the thing I've been longing for. What on earth just happened? The quartz of my winter-frozen heart must melt at the sight of it. The first day of March. That's what Danish poet Kaj Munk wrote in 1943. And honestly, that's exactly how it feels. As if something I thought was long dead is somehow nodding again, draped in silk blue bloom right there in the gravel. And yes, probate court is still waiting. The public humiliation. It has to be lived through. But now, there's a little blue anemone in my chest, swaying stubbornly in the soil of Zealand. That's why it feels different now. My fighting spirit is back. Because something is starting to loosen in the business, and in me. My life's work is still alive. And even more important, my gift to Marilyn. And in my moment of glorious delusion, a gift to all Danish women. Because what we've built is unique. It's full of female power, creative force, and solidarity. It has to survive. Now, I can fight constructively. To rebuild. To make sure her gift, and the gift meant for all of us, can live on. To create a plan. I haven't fought alone, but it's often felt that way. Lonely. Brutally lonely. Honestly, it's drained almost all the life out of me. I've never thought about suicide before, but during this time, the thought brushed against me. For the very first time. Okay, briefly. But still. And that scares me more than I'd like to admit. Conventum and rediscovered dignity. I'd just come home from a week at Conventum, where I freelance as an instructor. It's an iconic place, once a stronghold of the Danish labor movement, now a seaside conference center and hotel, still echoing with history, ideals, and possibly the best breakfast buffet in Northern Europe. I teach there often, mostly guiding people through the digital jungle and helping them write with power and clarity in all kinds of contexts for the labor movement. I've been doing it for 8 years now, and honestly, I love it. Conventum feels like home, like being a slightly over-caffeinated princess with a prezi and a purpose. Host, developer, teacher, human, all rolled into one. It's one of the few places where I get to unfold all of me professionally and personally, and I actually get paid well for it. A place where all my skills aren't just used, but seen. Felt. Recognized. And it's outside the company. This is just for me. And it matters. There, I'm both challenged and admired at the same time. And it changes me. In the best way. It gives me energy. Direction. And a sense that I'm actually good at something. Conventum is my Zen space. A place where thoughts settle and somehow life's big questions always find their answers. Something happens up there. I become the best version of myself. I'd worked my ass off, and it showed. I gave it everything I had. Badass businesswoman, owning her shit. And it got noticed. The participants, the leadership, my colleagues, they all saw it. More assignments in the bag. Glowing feedback. New experiences. Small wins. And me? I actually started feeling like a person again. A person with value. With direction. With self-respect. Someone who is good at something. Someone with a path. A plan. I've always needed a path. Without one, my inner compass starts spinning wildly, and I lose myself to meaninglessness. Even when everything seemed hopeless, I could read the signs, decode the signals, see the light breaking through the cracks, and follow it. That ability to read people, moods, situations has always been with me. A gift from my father. A double-edged sword. A gift and a curse in one. A classic trait of a child of an alcoholic. The ability to register everything before it explodes. To be one step ahead of chaos. That compass is my anchor. My reliable GPS in a storm. It's what guided me away from social inheritance and lack of cultural capital towards something that looks like freedom and agency. Something with direction and the ability to pass it on to Marilyn, to my children. And okay, maybe, with a bit of glitter and punchlines along the way. Like a golden compass in a dusty world. You know, that fine, invisible dust from the golden compass, the one you can only see in the right light, revealing who we really are. It's always felt like I'm navigating through something only I can see. My own map, my own dust. And I followed it, even when others only saw chaos. Yeah, I've crashed a few times, but as long as I can draft a new course, I'm okay. The only time I truly lost my way was when I got divorced. It wasn't the loss of love. It was the loss of control and direction that hit me. No path, no plan. Nothingness painted on every surface I looked at. I barely slept for half a year, not because of grief, but because of the lack of direction. The absence of control over my own life. The missing anchor point. It was the wildest feeling of void. An anxious scene. Without hope. Without meaning. A living nightmare. Thankfully, my sister was there. To pick me up when the emptiness was at its worst. Like in the never-ending story, when the moon princess shouts the name into the darkness, and the world slowly begins to rebuild. One golden grain of sand at a time, and new paths began to form. We found our footing again. We picked each other up in that time. Evenings on the couch with trashy rom-coms, my home-cooked meals, and ungodly amounts of coffee. While we tried to take care of ourselves, of each other, and our 6 kids combined, all still living at home. A kind of partners in crime with dark circles under our eyes, smeared mascara, and a black humor that saved us again and again. Fuck. Marilyn is funny. She's got the kind of humor that makes you snort laugh and clutch your stomach, and she's got timing. I don't have that in the same way, and I admire her for it. We air dated, and laughed ourselves half to death over ridiculous dick pics, bizarre male fetishes, and awkward limp Tinder messages. Cried over why there were never any hot men standing in our driveway, pining for us like in the series. We just seem to get all the leftovers, I sigh, but we'll get to that. Dating after 40 is a bloody uphill climb. I can tell you that. But there's definitely material for some tragically hilarious podcast/book episodes. My sister and I found comfort in each other, like an old echo from childhood. When everything was dark and scary, I'd place a calm hand on her back. A rhythmic little stroke, our code for, "It's going to be okay." She found peace in being cared for. I found strength in caring. We held each other together like we always have. Fuck yes, I read my horoscope. Admit it, you do too. Yeah, I know. I love that kind of crap. And yes, I believe in it. Or, I choose to believe in it. Some days, more than others. I don't even feel ashamed anymore. I practically revel in it. It feels like reading a comical tale of fate written just for me. Welcome to this life. You will endure all kinds of trials, humiliations, and emotional bullshit. But don't worry, it's all to shape you into a beautiful, harmonious soul who, when you one day die, will be welcomed with praise by the Creator himself and handed some kind of spiritual gold card. What's not to like? But my horoscope always says the same damn thing, and it hits home every time. You need to learn to stand by who you are. And there it is. As if the universe needs to remind me, again and again, that one of my biggest hurdles in this life is my endless ability to do things for others. Fix their mess. Save their asses. Clean up their emotional garbage. And place myself quietly in the background, like some kind of emotional cleaning lady. I sacrifice myself without blinking. Let others take the credit. Let them reap the rewards, while I'm left with dirt under my nails and a little oh well. Never mind stuck in my throat. But hey, it's written in the stars, right? So it must mean something. One day, maybe, sometimes I actually succeed. Practice makes perfect, and all that life-affirming crap. I celebrate the small victories here. Every time I manage to speak up and stay rooted in myself, I straighten my back like a worn-out queen who still knows how to wear a crown, even if it's made of cardboard and self-deception. It feels good. Right. And yes, I'll admit it freely, without shame, or at least with strategically placed shamelessness. The martyr card and my inner complainer are definitely invited to the party too. When I go full goddess of suffering, tearful eyes, and anger lines carved deep, I let myself wallow a little and lean into righteous indignation. It works. It does something. And I know that. Let's be honest, humans rarely do anything without a little emotional payoff. A small snack for the soul. Even self-reflection can taste salty and bitter. But that doesn't mean you're not working on yourself. Quite the opposite. In fact, this time, I did say no. I really did, with genuine adult composure and surprising calm when I was at Conventum, and found myself smack in the middle of a classic, I'll just handle this dilemma for free situation. The kind you usually drown in silence, coffee, and a fake smile. But not this time. This time, I grabbed what was mine, almost without hyperventilating. Something I promised myself I'd get better at after turning 40. Not exactly easy, though. It's one of those things that sounds simple in theory and feels damn near impossible in practice. For me, at least. It's embedded in me like a default setting, the urge to help, to please, smooth things over, to sacrifice myself and secretly enjoy it. But hey, at least you get to feel like a martyr in stilettos. Okay, that's something I want to detox from. Not because the stars told me to, but because it makes me angry and bitter. A real bitter bitch, deep down. Then, I walk around hating on you poor people, using absurd amounts of energy on imaginary arguments, revenge plots, and mental contingency plans. It's low, and it has to stop. I want to give freely when I want to. Not because I feel I have to be a good person. Not to earn my place in the world. That's something I promised myself I'd seriously work on. And I might as well say it, it's not going all that well. Wasabi rage. Time and time again, I fail to stand up for myself both professionally and personally. I don't claim my rightful place, don't speak up, don't take credit for my own work, the praise and recognition, both financial and social, that should land on me quietly, slip into the hands of others. But there is one thing I've mastered to perfection, the subtle art of high-level passive-aggressiveness. A true art form, really. One I could teach a masterclass in by now. Male colleagues especially seem to have taken the beginner's course in praise theft back in kindergarten and have been refining their technique ever since. I'm not saying all men are like this, but honestly, I'm starting to believe it's part of some early life curriculum. A snatch the credit and look important training module that gets repeated throughout their lives until they become full-blown grown-up masters of glory stealing. A textbook example of my don't think you're someone's special pattern? That would be Bent. Bent the IDD kid. A former colleague from AOF, where I taught adults with dyslexia, math anxiety, and literacy challenges. Or Wasabi Bent, as I later nicknamed him in my head, and laughed so hard about for years that I may or may not have accidentally said it out loud at a late afternoon meeting. There was wine involved, and after a glass or two, with a voice a little too loud and a filter a little too thin, it just slipped out. And once it was out, it couldn't be unsaid. He looked at me, confused. Maybe he caught it, maybe not, hard to tell. Bent was impossible to read. But, in that moment, I felt exposed. Completely naked. Like he'd just caught me watching dirty porn on my work computer. I cleared my throat, looked away, felt my cheeks burn, and started talking again. Fast. As if nothing had happened. I was a young teacher, eyes blazing, Dropbox overflowing with ideas, and a few years of experience that I wore like a superpower. That kind of energy only teachers without too many defeats still carry. Bent, on the other hand, Bent was experienced. An older guy. Short. Stocky. Always tight-lipped, and with the look of someone who'd been mildly offended since 1993. He rarely smiled, and when he did, it was usually while talking about himself, or his work. Preferably both. He was really into IT. As in, former IT guy with way too many yellow folders and self-made color codes. He was now a teacher mostly because IT no longer paid. So he figured, easy money, oh, give it a go. With that classic arrogance some self-taught men have toward education, as if our expertise is just decoration, and teaching is just about winging it with a decent PowerPoint. I'm pretty sure he'd never heard of the authentic teacher. He was stiff, stoic, like a Swedish granite bench, and about as warm in tone. He held the authority between us, mostly because he'd been there longer, and spoke with that slow, patronizing voice. Only men with PowerPoint slides and black and white worldviews seemed to get away with. He was sharp enough, but completely unoriginal. And not a real teacher. That, in my book, is a disqualifier. Pedagogy and didactics require more than IT certificates and a landline voice. He simply didn't get the importance of relationships, of scaffolding, of the zone of proximal development. It was like talking about rainbows to a calculator. Anyway, Bent and I were paired on a few projects because, apparently, we were the best at what we did. Management thought it was a brilliant combo. It wasn't. He was one of those, like so many men, who would let me take the lead, while his contribution was, let's say, symbolic. Like garnish on a cake you didn't order. And me? I was a work tyrant with fire under my ass, and 1,000 ideas. I hustled, created, developed, loved it. David everything I had. Still multiple times he just stood up at meetings and presented my work. Like it was his. Calm voice. Confident stance. That smug air men get when they truly believe they're the center of every room. It felt like standing in line at Walmart, only to be cut off by a man in a soft-shell jacket who casually drops his groceries in front of mine like it's his God-given right to go first, and my unspoken duty to let him. I stood there, smiling, fists clenched, chest burning with rage and bruised pride. And him? He accepted the praise, like it had been specially ordered for him. Chin up, back straight like he'd invented the whole damn thing. Once, and I swear I'm not making this up, he even got a bonus for his significant and valuable contributions, aka my work. I could have swallowed a keyboard out of pure rage. Asshole. But revenge came. And it always does if you wait long enough. We were out eating with colleagues. One of those Chinese buffet joints, sushi and deep-fried sadness mixed together, but somehow still lovable. Bent was flirting aggressively with a female coworker, acting like the star of his own little show. He could do that. He had the confidence of a man who'd forgotten he was neither young, funny, nor particularly interesting. I looked. That was not guacamole. That was wasabi, you idiot! I almost said something the words lined up on my tongue, but I held back. Went silent. A sly smile spread across my face. My inner revenge goddess applauded. Bent took it as shared food joy and said, "Want some too? I can save you a bit." So generous. So condescending. "Oh, how sweet of you," I smiled, while laughing maniacally on the inside. I knew the moment had come. Poetic justice served with wasabi and a smile I deserved an Oscar for. I watched him walk back to his seat, still flirting, still smug, still convinced he was God's gift to women and the world. and I waited. Come on. Let it happen. He took the biggest bite of guacamole, and then it happened. He coughed, gasped, eyes wide, face red, struggling to breathe, desperately trying to get his life back under control. I sat there smiling inside, with every wicked corner of my soul. Yes, Bent, that's karma. And it tastes like wasabi. There was no more flirting that night. Bent got very quiet. Went home early. But, as always, after sweet revenge comes the tiny pang of guilt, and that creeping feeling of being a bad person. But Bent? In my mind, he was never called anything but wasabi bent again. Version 4.0. Proud, stubborn, and fucking done people-pleasing. I figured the easiest place to start changing things would be my professional life. But no, not even there could I take charge. My failure as a business owner and leader? Classic. I was too soft, conflict-averse. Like Belle from Beauty and the Beast, I saw the monster, but chose to believe in the good in people. I put people before operations, passion projects before budgets, and feelings before logic. I protected employees I should have fired long ago. Naively believed my company meant as much to them as it did to me. It didn't. Of course not. Their loyalty evaporated like morning mist the day they were let go. They moved on so fast, they didn't even glance in my direction. Of course they did. And there I was, soaked to the bone, heart in my hands, learning the hard way that gratitude is a rare luxury in a company that's bleeding out. I learned this the brutal way. I'm not a goddess in heels with a golden aura and a life raft. I'm just a woman who tried to save people who had already found the exit. That's when I realized it's not my fucking job to save the world. People are perfectly capable of saving themselves. That's their responsibility, not mine. And yes, I'll unpack the full, bloody tale of my CEO adventure over a glass of wine in another chapter. But this time, I actually did it. I stood up for myself, professionally. I got what I wanted and, for once, without going home to write a revenge fantasy in my head while chopping carrots. Imagine that. I just had to ask. Important life lesson to self. Ask for shit, and sometimes you'll get it. 3 weeks earlier, we had professional development days at Conventum. Me and the team. We were in charge of planning the group activities, and of course, I dove in head first. Planned with the other women, wrote up all the structures, volunteered, created materials, sent them out, followed up. All of it at a speed that would make the roadrunner jealous. Mip, mip, and it was done. I built the whole thing from scratch. An activity for 100 people, packed with content, structure, and quirk. It was part of my master plan. The kind that says, I've made it through hell and I brought heels. A full-on hold my drink. I've got this kind of case. I felt it, this was mine. My initiative. My idea. My recognition. I've always had a strong sense of what's right for me, where I need to go. You could call it a fierce intuition, and I trust it. When it comes to my path, my projects, it never fails. Other times? Yeah, it's wildly unreliable. especially when it comes to trusting people, apparently. I have a unique talent for picking the ones with knives in their backpacks and a twinkle in their eye, when I thought, it's worth the effort. I'm gaining something from this, even if it's unpaid, even if it's underrecognized. But hey, I'll take what I can get. Then, a few weeks later, riding high on teaching energy and caffeine, I bump into Ole. At the coffee machine. At Conventum. Older. Cozy. Grandpa vibes. Always in a checkered shirt and a clear conscience. The kind of man who's never Googled mental load, and if he has heard of it, he probably thinks it's about electricity. He was the only one in the team who hadn't contributed anything useful to the group activity planning. His big idea? A movie. Yep. A film. Not something where we interact or connect, just a movie. So we could sit in the dark and avoid each other. Team building, old style. Silence and popcorn. I smiled, of course. Because we're supposed to be pedagogical even when all you want to do is scream. For fuck's sake, only could you come up with something original? He lights up like a well-fed wine elf and, with that self-satisfied I've won at life grin, tells me he's not teaching this week. At all. Nope, he's got the coordinator role for the group activities. And get this, he's getting paid. A wage. To coordinate my activity. The one I created. The one that nearly gave Oli a panic attack when I first pitched it. A real helping role? Absolutely unthinkable. I'd assigned him graciously as timekeeper. Big watch, low risk. Preferably without batteries, just to keep expectations in check. I invented, prepared, outlined, and developed the whole thing, and now I'd be delivering it. While Oli stood at the popcorn machine like a middle-aged film club educator soaking up the applause. I nod and smile. Oh, wow! That's great, Ole. Inside? Nuclear war. I'm boiling with rage in a dress, with pockets perfect for hiding clenched fists. A woman smiling sweetly while mentally Googling how to dispose of evidence from planned revenge, asking for a friend. I mean, seriously. I'm doing the work. For free. Came up with the idea, mapped out the process, made the materials, ran the session, and once again, a man gets the credit, and now the pay too? I'm out of money. This'll happen over my dead damn body. My brain kicks into gear. I hype myself up. The mirror gets a pep talk. The bathroom mirror too. And the hallway mirror because, let's be honest, that one knows me best. I decide, today, I'm taking it up with Ole, who also conveniently happens to be our freelance rep to management. Timing is everything. My pulse is 180, but my voice is steady. Same day as the event. I pull him aside, and my supervisor too. I explain, calmly, with dignity, with credibility. If I do say so myself, I lay it out, that it was me who invented, planned, developed, and will deliver the entire activity. That if this had been outsourced, it would have cost real money. 1 hour later, an amount is agreed upon. To be fair to Ole, he proudly presented the deal as if he'd had the idea long before me and was now generously giving me credit for my excellent work. Like he'd brokered a global peace treaty on behalf of all of us. Like he made it happen. And me? I praised him. Nodded graciously. Flashed that smile, the one that lands right in the center of the average man's ego. Works every time. A little ego hug, and they'll stay warm for weeks. And you know what? That's fine. He thinks it was his idea. I know it was my victory. I smile at the mirror. Compliment the toilet. High-five myself in the hallway mirror for a fucking brilliant, strategic move that hit the bullseye. 0 points to conflicted Christina. Massive hat trick to the version of me who took the fight in a dress, with pit stains and fire in her eyes. A gnawing sense of doom. I've had that constant feeling that something was about to go completely wrong, and that I wouldn't make it. A creeping, dark unease. Some might call it stress. But this was something else. The full, paralyzing sensation hit me for the first time one evening when I got high with the nerd. And then, bam, it struck. An icy paranoia, from the inside out, straight into my bones. Everything in me screamed, "This isn't okay." I froze. Literally, physically froze. At the same time, my mind raced 1,000 thoughts, crashing like shopping carts on a Friday afternoon in a discount store. I was paralyzed and hyperactive at the same time. I was stuck in overdrive with no steering wheel. So I clung to the nerd, the only steady pulse in a world gone static. My life vest in a sea of everything falling apart. A yellow Labrador and other psychological defense mechanisms. But that Monday morning, there was actually a little go-get-it energy in me. No sense of doom, more like a sense of capability. I opened my laptop, did some admin stuff, ordered a new MIT ID for my company, stopped by the bank, and made mental checklists, like I always do. Checked my own bank account. Everything looks okay. Not champagne okay, but definitely crackers and cheese with discount wine. And I have peace, or at least something that resembles peace, if I breathe really, really slowly. Okay. Government portal. I can do this, I tell myself. I've had so much anxiety around that stupid login system. Every time a new message popped up, it felt like a threat, an electric jolt straight to my gut, radiating through my whole nervous system. And it stayed there, for hours, while I tried to distract myself and failed miserably. Now, I've put my phone on permanent silence. Do Not Disturb is on 24/7, much to the nerd's frustration. He doesn't get it. Why don't you ever answer your phone, or your messages? He asks, half accusing. Because I never hear it anymore. And it gives me fucking peace. Peace inside. I can finally breathe. A little stillness of the soul. I keep the anxiety at bay. One vibrating call at a time. I sit up straighter in my chair. Start with the personal inbox, it feels less threatening. A message from the psychologist. Oh, right. I have an appointment today at 10 a.m. It's part of a public mental health program for people recovering from stress. And yeah, I more than qualify. So I said yes, gratefully. All right, let's do this. Feeling slightly lifted. Could be nice to unload a bit, but to be listened to. Maybe shed a tear and get a comforting look. Maybe even an arm around my shoulders. God, I need some care. Just for me. Mental massage? Yes, please. Although, poor guy, he has to sit there and listen to me for a whole hour. I've only met him once at the intro session. And I swear to you, he is the most unrealistic psychologist I've ever seen. Like a Greek gym god disguised as Romeo on overtime. Phew, let me tell you, arms like an emotional fitness center. A chest so sculpted, you could use it as a whiteboard. And that tight, way too intimate t-shirt did nothing for modesty. Nipples poking through, sending tiny electric jolts straight down to my 40-something horny vulva, which suddenly behaves like a teenager on a first date. And his abs? A washboard so sharp even Adonis would be jealous. His eyes? Beautiful. Blue, gentle. Understanding. He sees me. There's no doubt. Deep, calm voice, with that huskiness that makes you feel safe and slightly turned on. And that look. That little flash of mischief, he knows exactly what he is. For fuck's sake, he lives off it. Middle-aged women lined up to pour out their hearts, and probably get a little brain/heart orgasm on the side. I know better. I catch myself fantasizing not sweet and subtle, but full sensory activation. Tongue, hands, thighs, sweat, and a soundtrack that would definitely need censorship. And I just think, this is gonna be good. Real good. And to top it off, he's a feeler. He gets it. Says things like, you need to be kind to yourself. You're too hard on yourself. You're amazing. While looking me deeply in the eyes. It's like being flirted with by the hottest guy in school for an hour, but with no effort. No competition. Just me. Hell yeah. That's exactly what I need. To be distracted by a slightly dumb, slightly hot, deeply sincere yellow Labrador, the kind you want to pet, maybe toss a ball for, and then send home to someone else, who can deal with the poop and the dog food. An easy, low-commitment meeting. No real demands. No expectations from me. And then a letter from the Danish Business Authority. 500 kroner fine for late financial reporting. Yeah, I'll take care of that too. I've got this. I'm handling shit. As if things weren't bad enough, bam. An email from the damn collections court. Oh, my Lord. The collections court on my welcome mat. They'd already been by the week before. Of course, it was a shitty evening. All the kids were there. Mine. His. The whole bonus package. There was a knock at the door, and adrenaline shot through me. I just knew. I knew exactly what was coming. I instinctively reached for my red lipstick, the kind you put on when you can't breathe, but still want to signal that you've got your shit together. My oldest son called out, "Mom, it's for you." And with the whole house as my audience, I opened the door. Everyone practically tumbled out to witness the spectacle. Who could it possibly be, showing up unannounced like that? The collections court, in the flesh. A man standing in the dark on my steps with a folded document, a paperclip, and an official tone. The bankruptcy. The defeat. Everything I had tried to keep out. It stood there, on the doormat, staring me straight in the face. And I couldn't help but think of Meet Joe Black, that feeling of standing in your own home in the middle of company, wine, and kids' voices, while Death himself walks through the door in a suit. And no one else can see who he really is. But I knew. I smiled politely, took the letter, closed the door behind him. And there I stood, with red lips, and catastrophe in my hand. My kids, in front of the nerd, his kids, a full audience, catching the scent of tension and danger, without fully grasping what genre we were acting in. Something in my posture changed. My shoulders lowered millimeter by millimeter, as if my body was trying to absorb the blow. The room fell silent. That kind of alarmed silence only children understand. But I got 14 days to respond, and I thought, fine, we'll take that. Another item on the mental to-do list. Right under, smile at death, and carry on as if nothing happened, and pray no one asks what the letter says. Digital mail and dirty X's, when they both fuck you. I open the letter in my digital mailbox, and freeze. It says I didn't show up. Not my company. Me. By name. That the case has now been forwarded to the police because I didn't appear. That they'll come get me if I don't show up myself. Standard wording, probably. But still warrant, it says. In bold letters. Thanks for the flexibility, Collections Court. I could show up any weekday at 9 a.m. and you'd call off the search. How thoughtful of you. My first thought, I'm calling them. This can be sorted. It's Monday. The letter came Friday afternoon. Surely they've given me today, before rolling out the sirens and the dogs. Or flashing my face on America's Most Wanted, next to John Walsh. I call and get placed on hold. Classical music pours through the phone. It feels like mockery, like someone whispering, "Sure, your life is falling apart, but we're chill here. Just relax. We'll strip you of all dignity and leave you paralyzed before we even consider taking your call." Mozart with a hint of passive aggressiveness and systemic contempt. I hang up. I can't handle the music, but it keeps ringing in my head like a soft, high-pitched tone lodged in my inner ear. So I call my mom instead. She's on her way, late, as usual, but coming. We'll drive down together, I think. And afterwards? My yellow Labrador psychologist. I'm still holding it together, I tell myself. One hard thing per day. I repeat it internally like a psalm. Then I see the letter again. And consider getting baptized all over, just to get a new beginning. Wipe the CPR number. New name. Something with less debt. I smile at my own dark joke, and realize to my horror that it's not my company. It's me. Personally. Me who has to appear in court. What the fuck? It's that goddamn heating bill. My furnace broke. Or our furnace. Our house. The house my ex-husband now lives in. With his new wife from the East. One of those women you meet online. Write with. Or write to, because they can't really talk. She barely speaks English. So you fly over. Visit. And suddenly, ta-da! You're married. There are several documentaries about it on Danish TV, if anyone's curious. I promise I'll return with my sharp pen and deep love of dark comedy when we dig into that goldmine of satire. Some call it love at first sight. As crude as it sounds, I call it what it is, a bought bride. Not that I'm here to play moral high judge. Love wears many faces. Some of them just look suspiciously like discount codes and quick weddings. But let's call it what it is. My house, well, their house now, and I'm still financially on the hook for it. At least, if you ask my ex-husband. We got a bill that fall. $2,000 to fix the damn furnace. Of course, because nothing says off-season like cold, invoices, and broke exes. He couldn't pay. Of course not. It's expensive to finance a new wife from the East and her kids, who come along like a kind of extended family package with hidden subscriptions. So there was only one option. My kids aren't going to freeze. Literally, I didn't have the money. Or okay, I did. But then there would be nothing left. Nothing. Just me. And a debit card with shaking hands. But I paid. Because I'd rather be broke and warm than proud and frozen. And because no one else stepped up, most people just stared at the thermostat and hoped for a miracle. First, I paid to save my ex's ass. Back when he didn't have his share for the mortgage refinancing. Because he'd just had a huge wedding in the East, and of course, he had to pay for the whole thing himself. It was his turn to be happy. His priorities, not mine. And let me tell the younger readers, when you're over 40 and newly divorced, the bank isn't exactly lining up to renegotiate your mortgage. They just want their money. Yesterday. So I had to come up with $43,000 in cash. Sounds cinematic, felt more like Extreme Makeover, Bankruptcy Edition, minus the experts and with way worse hair. And after that, I spent the rest stocking up inventory for my business. The world's worst investment. What was left? I used it to keep my people on payroll. Because apparently, I thought I was some kinda everyday heroine with a credit card and a dangerously strong belief in responsibility as a business strategy. I used to always keep $7,000 saved for emergencies. That was my rule. My safety net. My grown-ass pride. But I haven't had that for over a year now. And that's when things fall apart. I have to fucking learn this. It won't happen again. So yeah, I split the bill into 3 payments. Very unlike me, by the way. Manageable. Strategic. Planned. To keep a grip on myself. And I'm pretty sure I paid 2 of them. But did I forget the last one? Fuck no. That's the stress. I forget things. It just slips away. And then the guilt hits me like a sledgehammer to the forehead, dripping slow poison into my system. I hate that feeling. The feeling of not doing well enough. Of not being in control. That feeling has been hitting me way too often lately. And me? I'm my own harshest judge. And that courtroom doesn't allow appeals. A permanent jury with me as head judge. And now I'm standing here again, in the middle of helplessness. All my strength, energy, and fight gone. In a split second, but I clear my throat, pull myself together, pick up the phone, and call my mom. "You'd better come inside for coffee," I say. A little too quietly. "Or we just need to talk." And while I wait for her to arrive, I start to lay out a plan. A plan for how I'm going to handle this. Because I will handle it. Of course I will. Still, I'm pacing around the house. Back and forth. Up and down. It's fucking freezing. The nerd, the idiot, insists it's good for me to be cold. It helps the body regulate heat. He preaches with his smug, wellness vibe voice, the superior, all-knowing lecturer Hansen shooting me that patronizing look like I'm freezing on purpose. "Kiss my ass," I mutter, grabbing my warm shawl and curling up into it. I shuffle into the kitchen. Wander, aimlessly. Do a little of this, a little of that. Try to make it feel like I'm in control of something. The pipe under the sink is surprise leaking. Again. I've placed bowls underneath. And now, here I stand. Like an idiot, wiping it up. Again. I should just pull myself together and tell the nerd. But honestly, I don't have it in me. He wouldn't be able to handle it right now, anyway. I can see it in his pale blue eyes, pupils shrinking into tiny panic dots, that haunted look. The stress. I imagine it, almost like a scene in slow motion, that panicked, tight glisten on his forehead as he desperately tries to process a problem that's already crushing him. As if I'm a ticking bomb holding a dish brush. He has no idea how to handle it. Me. The situation. Anything. I know that look all too well by now. I've seen it all weekend. That scattered, vacant expression, like he's mentally clawing his way up the wall over a damp dishcloth and a bad vibe. We both need a break. I can't deal right now. He spirals into a manic state over the smallest drip. Literally. A leaky tap sends him straight into his emotional gutter. And me? I'm drowning in his drips and my own desperate need for just one functional adult in the room. I try to spare him. Myself. Just for now. Just for a moment, because it feels like a conflict zone between Trump and Zelensky. Trump with grandiosity and superiority. Zelensky with the moral high ground and war-weary eyes. That's the thing about only children. They're movie stars in their own inner universe. Their own private Spielberg productions, where they play hero, victim, and breathwork guru all at once. He hurts me. Not because he's cruel, just because he's so busy starring in his own emotional disaster film that there's no room for supporting roles, least of all ones with needs. I'm definitely not the lead in his story. I sigh, heavily. Laundry room tsunami and other relationship casualties. Yesterday, the laundry room flooded. Completely. My stepdaughter had washed her beautiful red quilted jacket, the one she made herself, and just couldn't be bothered to hang it up. Just left it in the machine and took off. To be fair, she's like that. It seems princessy, and it kind of is, but the truth is, she's just distracted. She forgets things. Forgets time, space, and wet textiles. And me? I'm standing in the middle of it all, quilt, water, and a kind of motherhood that can't really be defined. Because that's what you do as a stepmom. You hang up things you didn't wash. You clean up messes you didn't make. You wipe things down both physically and emotionally. Being a stepmom, God, that's a whole story in itself. It takes guts. It's a relationship with invisible rules and a role that's fucking taboo as hell. You're allowed to love, just not too much. You should be there, but not too present. You must take responsibility, but don't you dare demand anything. It's love labor in blurry lines, and without an instruction manual, only guilt and quilt fragments. We're so alike, she and I. That's probably why I, with my endless patience and tolerance, insert ironic smile here, hung up her jacket and started a new load of laundry. And bam! Laundry room, tsunami. All the excess quilt had gathered like some kind of textile mud volcano and clogged the entire system. Now, the laundry room is underwater. Literally. Luckily, we have tile floors, otherwise, we'd be filing insurance claims and filming a disaster movie. Working title: The Quilted Jacket That Drowned the House. Her dad just sits there in the living room, like a passive little Buddha, playing the victim, like he always does when reality gets too close, while I deal with the water damage and assess the cleanup operation. That's his superpower. Shut down. Stay silent. Pretend it'll all go away if he just sits very still and says nothing. Like an ostrich. Not very manly. What the hell do I even see in him? He uses it like emotional camouflage. His logic? If I don't move, the problem can't see me. And if I stay quiet long enough, maybe she'll stop. Power down. Give up. That might work on spiders. But not on me. He's so intelligent, despite what I've made him sound like so far. And yeah, he's disturbingly similar to my dad. I know. I've got daddy issues, more than you could ever imagine. God, he uses these little tricks totally on purpose. Emotional hooks. Little sweet lines, like my little wife. He knows exactly how much that means to me. This whole marriage thing. It sounds loving, but tastes mostly like manipulation dressed up as a pet name. He keeps me on the line. Like a fish on a hook. Right there, close enough that I won't swim away. But never free. And this can go on for years. Sure, he says we'll get married. But he can't handle a timeline, or planning, or action. Every time we take a step forward, he panics, pulls back, cancels, shoots down. It's been like this for 1.5 years now. We're stuck. Totally stuck. Because what's a proposal or an intention without action? Not a damn thing. It's gaslighting. That's what the fuck it is. He never opens up, never includes the cast in his film. He plays the lead, but never shares the script. If he truly wants me, he'll have to come get me. Choose it. And if he doesn't, that's on him, not me. What it takes is action, not just words designed like painkillers to dull a reality that hurts, but one I can't ignore anymore. Out with the laundry racks onto the terrace. Scoop water into buckets. Pour it out. Again. And again. And you know what? It was actually okay. Exactly what I needed. It was tangible, constructive. I felt good, powerful, even. I did it without complaining, without bitterness, without playing the martyr card, the good stepmom. Not sulking that the kid didn't hang up her clothes. Not mad she wasn't around to take responsibility when everything flooded. I just handled it, calmly, efficiently, while humming "It Must Have Been Love" as her dad sat in the living room sulking because I want to fucking marry him. Imagine that. Poor guy, huh? A warm, strong, loyal, amazing woman says, "Hey, I want to be your lover, your best friend, and have your back for life." Fuck must be so hard. Fuck you. Fuck all of you. Screw off. Go to hell. Handle your shit. I don't care. I'm fucking better than this. And right then, standing there with the bucket and the stink and water running down my legs, I feel it. The anger bubbles. Rising. Like a pot boiling over. No lid. Thoughts swirling as I stand there scooping water like some municipal sewage worker in rain boots and bottled-up rage. If he doesn't want to marry me, he can rot alone. Under his blanket. In his dark room. With self-pity as his sleeping bag and self-deceit as a pillow. Drooling over young porn girls on YouTube. Longing for real connection and commitment. Wrinkled. Bitter, high as hell, clutching that old photo of his old, perfect family, beating himself up with the fantasy that the first divorce, the crash, was all his fault. That why he can't do it again. And now he can't get married again. Because he's a broken man, he says. What the actual fuck? That's just the bedtime story he tells himself, so he can fall asleep at night without having to take responsibility for us. I know exactly how this ends. He won't wake up until the day I walk out the door. Maybe that's what it takes. Or maybe he won't wake up at all. Maybe he just slides further down the drain. Who the hell knows? Or will he? He's a man, after all. He doesn't live by my standards, I need to see that. Really see it. Understand it. They function differently than we do. Perfectly happy just watching, drooling, and daydreaming over some barely legal girl shaking her ass. Preferably too young to notice how little they actually bring to the table. With so little self-awareness, they don't even realize how painfully unattractive they are inside and out. Because here's the thing, they all think, no matter their age, gut, or sad little limp dick, that they're Jamie from Outlander. That they could bag a 16-year-old with a smirk and a dad joke. And they're fine living in that fantasy. As long as it requires zero commitment, zero effort, zero emotional accountability. I've found the laziest man on the planet. Maybe I just need to face that. Move the fuck on. Maybe it's me who needs to learn this lesson. To find a man who actually wants something in life. Get your shit together, Christina. Seriously, you're so much better than this. You shouldn't have to beg a man to love you. To choose you, to commit. Come on. Show some damn self-respect. Pull yourself together. Any man would be damn lucky to have you as his wife. And if he can't see that, then you move the fuck on. He knows how much it matters to me. He knows. So choose me. on my terms. The truth is sharp. If I really mattered to him, he'd choose it in a split second. No hesitation. Now he has to choose me or not. That's his decision. His responsibility. He's not getting my light. And he's sure as hell not stringing me along any longer. Mom knocks on the door. I open up and tell her about Collections Court. Brief, blunt, distant, and with emotional superiority. You know, the kind of superiority you only manage when you're falling apart on the inside, but still have your mascara on. She looks tired, worn out, old, and a little too translucent. Like one sideways glance could knock her over. I can't take any more drama, she says, sinking heavily into the chair with a sigh. And inside, I'm screaming, neither the fuck can I. I want peace. I want to be one of those calm types who knit. But I say nothing. I kiss her cheek. I simply say, softly, let's go, Mom. Let's get it over with. I smile vacant, totally disconnected from any inner core. I've developed this habit lately. I just stare into the room and something happens. A kind of mental vacuum. Like my brain hits the mute button. It's a place where I get a break. Just for a moment. No demands. No decisions. No vibe to hold or fix. Not even background noise. I've actually been experimenting with it. How long can I self-hypnotize just by staring into space and thinking, not now? And yeah, surprisingly long, it turns out. It gives me a kind of lightness. A brief mental recess. Like taking a freezing cold micro shower in nothingness. And I need that. Sometimes I find it when I write. Or, honestly, when I'm building learning materials or tweaking websites. Right there, in the nerdy bits and fine-tuning, something starts to bubble. My real creativity. And the keyboard flies. Without thinking. Without trying. Maybe that's what people call flow. Or the muse. I've always been fascinated by those interviews where geniuses are asked, "How did you come up with it?" And they just smile and say, "It just came." I get that feeling too. It just comes. No doubt. No pressure. No performance. And yeah, I know I'm not a genius. But we mere mortals should be allowed to feel it too, right? Mothers, men, and emotional debts that never get paid off. We're getting close to the bailiff's court. And strangely enough, I'm completely calm. Even on the inside. My mom and I, we have this special kind of rhythm. A sort of dialect of complaining that we both speak fluently. We take turns airing our grievances. About the mess. The lack of structure. All the stuff we do that no one else gives a shit about. About my sister Marilyn and my chosen sister/business partner Diva. They think it's all about having a pretty notebook and a filtered Insta feed. About men, and there, we always agree quickly. The conclusion is clear. Men are not fucking smart. They're like little boys with huge egos and zero sense of responsibility. Egoists with chest hair and emotional tools as effective as a rusty screwdriver. And yet, we can't do without them. Why? That's still a mystery. We're working on it. My mom's no better than the rest of us female fools. We almost can't live with them, and definitely not without. It's like a hereditary condition, passed down across generations and bleeding experience. But there's something beautiful in it too, me and my mom. She's actually a good adult mom. One who can keep the conversation going and the wheel straight, balancing unconditional love, moral support, and gentle jabs that make you reflect on your choices. She says it straight. No velvet gloves. She just says it like it is. I look at her. God, she looks old and small. She does this thing with her mouth now that she's got dentures, purses her lips, and it makes her look even older. More wrinkles around the mouth, like her face is trying to close in protest. But she's still beautiful, my mother. And God, I love her. I can't imagine a world without her in it with me. And at the same time, I resent her. Not all of me, just the little girl inside. Fuck, she's let little Christina down so many times. As a child. As a young adult. That's some heavy shit. But hey, who doesn't have a complicated relationship with their mother? That feeling of being second to men, it's a childhood debt I'm still paying interest on. Maybe that's why I keep choosing emotionally unavailable men. Seems likely. Doesn't take a psych PhD to figure that one out. I have to fight for love. It's in my DNA. Developmental point once I've dealt with all my other shit. I say it. Mostly to myself. But I understand her better now. The choices. The dilemmas. The tug-of-war between love and decency. The tension between stability and the desperate need to be loved at any cost. But the little girl in me doesn't. She doesn't get the logic. She doesn't understand the priorities. She doesn't get why Mom disappeared, or why she insisted on choosing men with the emotional maturity of Johnny Depp in a courtroom. That little girl, skinny with a boy haircut and chronic nosebleeds, is still waiting. Not for love. Not for understanding. But for Mom to come and save her. Save her from a father who couldn't protect her. And from a responsibility no child should ever carry. Clover earrings and shame in my gut. We arrive. I walk up the stairs and into some kind of entry hall. Big counter. Glass front. Some chairs behind it. It looks like the kind of place where all energy comes to die. 3 people are sitting there when I walk in. A heavy-set woman with saggy, graying hair, wrapped in dark, shapeless clothes, like she's trying to hide from life. She looks resigned. Worn down. Like a washed-up sleeping beauty who overslept by 100 years and now wanders around in her pajamas and nicotine-stained eyebrows, long after the beauty's faded. An older man. He just looks gray. Like someone who used to have a hobby. But that was a long time ago. And then a sleek, lawyer-type woman in her 30s. Beige bag. Caramel trench coat. She's tapping her foot. Impatient. She's got power. You can see it. She's way too polished and way too rich for this place. Like she already knows who's going to get humiliated today. Spoiler, it's probably some poor idiot straight out of extreme debt makeover. And then there's me, the weirdest woman in the room, in a green blouse, clover earrings, a hint of defiance and existential unease. I wish I could see myself through their eyes. Do I look like someone who's got her shit together? Or like a glitter-drenched debtor who just Googled how to avoid the bailiff on the way here? I don't belong here. Obviously. That's what I tell myself in Inner Defense Speech number 77. I designed my life differently. It was supposed to be vibrant, colorful, free, full of love and creative fire. Not some mental prison with institutional flooring and bad lighting, where I've been stuck for 2 years all while waiting for the love of my life, who I now kind of know will never love me back. And yet, here I am, with clovers in my ears and a little too much self-awareness. 2 police officers are standing at the counter. They're escorting a man foreign-looking, like a defeated pizza delivery guy on the run. Both officers are women, standing tall, hands resting on their service weapons. One of them has an ass so toned it could rival any male fitness instructor. Wow, I think. How many hours must that take? They both wear tight ponytails and have that facial expression that says, "Don't smile, look professional." As if seriousness is masculine. As if you have to pull a certain face to be taken seriously in blue uniform. They look important, authoritative, ready for action. Women working hard to take up space in a man's world, and succeeding. But damn, it's exhausting that we basically have to look like men to be taken seriously. By the system, by society, by men themselves. I sigh. This is a man's world. A thin, gray man, classic civil servant type, rises from a far-off corner behind the glass. He has a receding hairline, gray-toned skin. Boring. No personality. He is the system. He looks like the system. He calls out next in that bored-ass voice, like he's so sick of saying it, he probably mutters it in his sleep while tossing and turning at night. I step forward and hand him the letter. He smiles kindly with his yellowed, crooked coffee teeth. "Yes, you were supposed to show up." "Yes," I begin, ready to explain, but he cuts me off. "Missed it." I nod, a bit relieved. For a moment, I think maybe he gets it. Maybe he actually has some sympathy for my situation. But then I realize he's being ironic. Deeply ironic. He hears this 80 times a day. I feel like an idiot. Even I can hear how ridiculous I sound, but he doesn't know it's true. How could he? When he hears 80 lies a day. So I humbly accept his lukewarm, ironic pity, even though I know what it really is. Contempt. Not just for me. For us all. The clovers. The debt. The 2 green blouse. The red lipstick. And yes, me. You just go in and say, "I've got no money, and that's that." Down the hall, to the left, all the way at the end, says the Popadesque, flatly, nodding toward an opening ahead. I walk, still holding my head high. I just have to get through this. And then on to the psychologist, looking forward to it, to the peace, to my responsibility-free zone. To those arms, those blind but seeing eyes, and that professionally measured care. There's something about it. I smile, almost uplifted. What should I talk to him about today? I start an inner dialogue with my soft, sweet, yellow Labrador. I smile at the thought. ready to swap shame for charm in the next room. The hallway looks like a hospital, blue doors. Coffee station. Chairs in long rows. I reach a waiting area. 2 doors. 1 on each side. Identical. Later, I find out those 2 brown doors lead to completely different realities, but you wouldn't know it just by looking. One leads to a scheduled debtor session. For the punctual, the prepared. The ones with neat folders and clean consciences. Option 1, debtor light. And the other door? That one's for people like me, the ones who are threatened into showing up, or quietly escorted in by the police. It's the now or never we've got to kind of door, where they question you, inspect you, assess you. So which door would you choose? One of fate, really. A door that, for many, marks the moment where luck or maybe even talent led them right here. Just like me. The others in the room catch my eye. A kid way too young. Hoodie. Baggy light wash jeans. Buzz cut. He looks exhausted, hollow under the eyes. Weed? No sleep? Probably both. He stares blankly ahead, with that look young men get when they've stopped expecting anything from the world. Next to him, same man, 30 years older. A walker. Tattoos winding up his neck. A scruffy beard with crumbs in it. Eyes with no light left. A mouth that gave up a long time ago. And then his brother. Just as worn down, but standing tall. That quiet dignity. The kind that doesn't shout, but holds its ground. There's something about them. Something that sticks with you. A loyalty you don't see often. The kind that doesn't need words. It hits me somewhere deep. Reminds me of my sister and me, all the things we never said but carried anyway. It's an echo I feel. A kind of love that can't be bought, not with money, not with power. It's above all that. And it's worth so much more. And then suddenly it hits me. I'm sitting here, smiling, almost hysterically. It's not a long drop from here. Anyone could end up like this. Even me. I say, "Hey guys." They nod at me. I smile. So this is where we sit as debtors. They both laugh. I speak their language now. It's familiar. Like my father's. The old man laughs. Dark holes where teeth used to live flash behind his lips. "So," I say, "what the hell are you doing here?" "Got picked up by the cops at 4 this morning." He chuckles, like he just hit bingo at the senior center. "Damn." I say, "That sounds dramatic." "Good thing I checked my digital nail box," I mumble, picturing him yanked out of bed, messy hair, guilty eyes. Dragged out of your own home, put on display. Humiliated. "Nope," he says. They rang the bell real polite. I opened the door, and there they were. Fucking cops. He nods with a grin, like he still hasn't quite wrapped his head around it. Haven't slept since. But hey, they gave me coffee, and a ride in the back of a squad car. That's more than the bitch at home's done for me in years. He laughs like it was an event. One of the few. The kind that might make the tabloids, and he was the headline. A highlight in a life filled with final notice letters and routine. "So," I say, "and now you're just sitting here. Yeah? His brother answers for him. I'm his stand-in. There's pride in his voice. Like a crooked little knight, wearing love as armor. We laugh just a bit too loud. Yeah. I say, good thing I checked my e-docs. Spared myself the flashing lights and front door drama. He shrugs. I like to take things at my own pace. Got my letter 8 months ago. I chuckle and breathe a little easier. Okay, so I've got some time to spare. I think he finds me kind of refreshing. Not many people like me sit down and talk to him. It's a small gift we're both quietly enjoying. So is this your first time? I ask. They look at me like I just asked if they've ever eaten a potato. Hell no, the man says. I've been here loads of times. You just walk in and say, I've got no money, and that's that. Oh, I say. They nod. Like I've just passed some kind of social exam in responsible debt management. But suddenly, I see the nerd in my mind. What would he say if the cops showed up and dragged me out in the middle of the night? What would my kids say? Nausea hits me. The real kind. I fix my eyes on a single spot. The tears are building, but I won't let them fall yet. This isn't a place for crying. This is where we small talk with strangers and pretend the whole thing is kind of funny. I get up. I need to grab my laptop. Work. It calms me. It's something I know. Something I can control. While I'm sitting here, a fucking joke to myself and the whole damn world. I practically run to the car, grab it, march back in, and sit down with defiance. Open it. Log in. Start typing. 3 emails. Trying to kick off today's mental to-do list. Email to the lawyer. Email to the POS system. Email to... I'll pay, I say firmly, trying to sound like I've got it together. Then someone calls my name. Christina? A woman stands in the doorway. She looks to be about 35. Slightly overweight, not wrecked. Just resigned. Like her body said, we're doing life in slow motion from here on out. She's wearing a black and white striped t-shirt. Horizontal stripes. Rookie mistake. The outfit tries to say laid back, but all it really says is, I've given up, but I still want to seem competent. Her hair is that non-committal shade of municipal brown, just hanging there like even it doesn't want to participate in life anymore. Her eyes are gray. Boring gray. The kind you often see in women over 30 who've stopped flirting with the world. She looks like she works for the county. Or at a daycare. Or maybe she's just chosen to live her life in the colors gray, beige, and no thank you. There's nothing threatening about her. Nothing sharp. Nothing feminine. Everything about her is smoothed out in safety, common sense, and orthopedic comfort. She couldn't hurt a fly, but I can't help thinking she could make a decision that changes your life forever, and then go eat her plain ham sandwich on rye in the break room without blinking. The room I step into is square and lifeless. It smells like waiting and failure. In the center stands a large, light-colored wooden table, the kind that looks like it was stolen from a public school. She sits behind a height-adjustable desk in the same bland shade. On it, a computer monitor and an old-school landline, the kind with square black buttons and a blue coiled cord. The kind that reeks of bureaucracy and broken marriages. The setup forms a T. I sit alone, exposed, at the end of the table, isolated like the delinquent debtor I've apparently become. She smiles politely and slips into that neutral government voice. My name is Met, and on the phone I have Kirsten from the law firm. I cut her off. But I've been making payments. No one told me anything? She continues, calm and practiced, like she's mentally ordering printer paper. Yes, you've paid $1,430, but you still owe $715. And of course, we're not obligated to, okay. How much do I owe? I ask, a little irritated. My voice is sharper. Now, let's just get this over with. Now. Inside, something lifts. I'm getting paid $11,500 this month. I'm not screwed. Not completely. That'll be $1,180, she says. Yes, comes Kirsten's dry voice through the speakerphone. And then there's today's interest $18.50. Met taps on a calculator. Clears her throat. That brings us to $1,198.50. She says it like she's reminding me to pick up a gallon of milk. I'll pay, I say firmly, trying to sound like I've got it under control. Which, to be fair, I do. As long as I borrow a little from my youngest son. I log into my online bank. Transfer the money. It needs to be an instant transfer, says the voice on the phone just a little too firm, like I was considering sending it by carrier pigeon. Yes, of course, I reply, dryly. I turn the laptop and show the receipt to Met. She gives a small nod. Kirsten, can you confirm the payment's been received? Yes, says Kirsten. Not even a flicker of tone in her voice. It's been received. There's no goodbye. Just a click. Like they were disappointed I actually paid. Like together they didn't get to pull off the ultimate power move. And that was a real letdown. Like losing in a video game and having to start all over again. Their goal? To bring me all the way down. To break me. To have me lying flat on the floor, soul emptied, dignity gone. As if the humiliation isn't complete until I sit there, tears in my eyes, whispering, I can't pay. My thoughts drift back to the two brothers. That's what they said with something close to joy in their voices. They got it. They'd figured it out. Cracked the code. Give them what they want, and they'll let you go. Maybe. Set free. Lie it only if you don't play the game. Only if you lie all the way down. Down where power has nothing left to win. But no. Not today. I can't break out of the game. The game I've done everything to fit into. The game I've learned to master armed with grace, decency, and cultural capital as my shield. I fought to win by their rules. Believed that if I was just good enough, respectable enough, I'd make it. But this game, the one where the prize is my dignity, this game wasn't made for people like me, who don't even want to play with me. I'm too much. Too wild. Too smart. Too relentless. No one works harder than me. No one wants it more. I can read any system, see through any plan, and you know that. I'll win in the end. Believe it. Because I've been to the bottom. I was raised on resistance. It came with the mother's milk. When you've sat alone in a small, locked room for hours, no food, no water, no one who sees you. When you've been beaten so badly you can't tell the difference between pain and silence with no way to fight back. When you've been humiliated, degraded, by the one person who was supposed to love you the most for simply being who you are. When that person breaks you so completely your heart shatters into 1,000 tiny pieces, then you learn. You learn how to survive. And even worse, when you're standing right there, watching it happen to the person you love more than yourself. Helpless. Small. Broken. Something changes. A kind of defiance is born. A resilience. An inner anemone crystal blue, stubborn as hell, refusing to die. Even in the dark. A survival force most people will never know. Thank God. Silence. Slightly awkward. So much silence that for a second, I almost say, "So was it good for you too?" But I don't. I stand up hesitant. Well, I guess I'll head out then. It sounds like I'm asking for permission. Like I'm on parole for good behavior. Like I'm not a free person. Like my freedom is temporary borrowed. Yes, she says. Short. Firm. She knows. She knows she holds the power right now. And she enjoys it. That moment when a grown woman asks for permission to leave the room. That's what she lives for. Not the pension. Not the paperwork. The power. In its smallest, purest form. I try to break the tension. Just a little. Shift the energy. After all, I'm a teacher. A master of words and timing. You've got one of the worst jobs, I say with a crooked smile, a half-ironic parting gift. One last attempt to reclaim a bit of dignity. A sliver of control. Yeah, but someone's gotta do it, she sighs. Her look reeks of self-satisfaction and stale office air. Well, have a nice day, I croak, offering my hand. I squeeze just a little too hard. It's a lie. I don't mean it. Inside, I'm hoping her day is absolute shit. That everyone pays on time so she doesn't get her daily power fix. Fuck you. And then I practically run out the door. Like someone might change their mind and call me back. Like freedom could be revoked with a simple, "Wait, hold on a second, but I'm out." I breathe. And even though it smells like piss and public buildings, it still smells like air. There's only one way from here, and that's up. Thank you for listening to my audiobook Red Lips in Collections Court. I hope you enjoyed it. There's more to come. Dedication to my beloved sister for loving me as I am. With all my edges, cracks, and colors. For giving me direction when I was lost in the dark. You are my anemone. My unbreakable, crystal blue flower in winter soil. My hope. My echo. To my mother, my role model, in so many ways. For your strength, your courage to live fully, and your unshakable ability to rise again and again. You've taught me that women can carry more than the world will ever understand, and that dignity and determination can walk just fine in practical shoes. To my nerd, Thank you for the calm, for the look that never judges, for your patient love, your faith in me, and for giving me the courage to begin. Without you, this would still just be an idea scribbled on a napkin. You are the love of my life, and I hope we'll walk the rest of it together. And if we don't, you're still the love of my life. To my children, my strong olive tree, steady and grounded, with heavy branches and a gaze that reaches out to the world with gentleness and will. You carry my motherhood, my wise beech tree, thoughtful and calm, with steady roots and a crown that grows tall and wide. You are rooted in my identity. My beautiful cherry tree, delicate and a little tender, but full of life and light, with soft pink blossoms in spring and blushing fruit in summer. You embody my life force. You have taught me what love truly means. To my beloved grandpa, you left this world far too soon, but you're still with me. In my thoughts, in my hands. Your creativity, your warmth, your pancakes and your safe home, they've become my measure of love and acceptance. You were my safe place when everything else was falling apart. A symbol of decency and normality. And you still live in my heart. To my ex-husband, for your steadiness, for growing into adulthood together, for your friendship, and for our children. To my sister's children, my children of the heart. You are like my own, and there's not a single stone I wouldn't turn for you. To my father, fragile and complex. For the dark shadows you couldn't outrun, but also for your intelligence, your love of language, and the traces you left in me, the ones I'm still writing from. I know you did the best you could with what you had.